to thank Katie Scheifelbein and the LSRS for your excellent partnership with the National Spine Health Foundation. So, I'm talking about bridging the gap and the power of patient advocacy. And I first want to start with a message of gratitude to every single person in this room. You, and you. You have all been part of this remarkable revolution in spinal healthcare that has taken place over the last 25 years. And thank you for that. I had a successful ALIF about 8 years ago. I've been the recipient of the excellent care that many of you have been involved in developing and creating. We've created a world where more patients have access to excellent care. More patients have better outcomes. Surgeons and industry have developed masterful techniques and technologies. Neurosurgery and orthopedic surgery are coalescing. Partnerships amongst the societies are coming together. The registries like ASR and QOD, evidence development, ISSG, HSG, the research that's done by the societies. This is an amazing world. There is great news to tell in spinal healthcare, but there's still lots of bad news out there, and bad news dominates the headlines. Um, I'm showing you here just a number of really bad news reports that came out just in 2024 alone. Of course, the Lone Institute finding on the number of unnecessary spine fusions done in Medicare patients was the big Forbes headline last year. And then it didn't help that at the end of the year, this young gentleman who maybe had a back problem dominated some headlines. And by the way, his birthday was last week and he earned an additional $1 million in his defense fund. And there is a musical being performed about this gentleman's life that has already sold out before it even debuted. So we just sort of wonder why this bad news perpetuates when there is so much good news. Look at what you all have been talking about today here at LSRS. And so, we say that it's time to change these headlines. If you look at social media, right, there are fear-based headlines. I pulled these out of social media. Your back pain could be a sign of something deadly, right? Fear-mongering, overpromising solutions by oversimplifying complicated solutions and giving false hope. This one stretch will fix your back forever. There's commercial scare tactics, right? We've seen ads, and I pulled this ad. Your desk job is killing your spine. Buy this chair. This will fix it, right? Misleading terminology just adds to confusion that's out there. Slip disc, only surgery will fix it. And then, anecdotal claims that people make, again, throughout social media and throughout advertising. My chiropractor cured my sciatica in one visit. So what does that all mean? Well, we say it's time to tell the truth about the good news in spinal health care. One of the ways that is best done is through testimonial telling. I'm showing you here series of testimonials that we have at the National Spine Health Foundation at spinehealth.org. You may not know there is a podcast called the Get Back to It podcast. It has won Best Healthcare Podcast for the last 4 years. It has an Apple review rating of 5.0, 10,000 downloads, thousands of subscribers, and these are your patients telling their stories in their words. And there's nothing more compelling than those patient testimonials. We go a step further to create trusted resources. Trusted resources build confidence in patients. We live in a time where people lack trust in their institutions, government institutions, healthcare institutions. So patients are thirsty and longing for a place that they can trust. We've created a program called Spine Talks. I look around the room, I see Alpesh Patel. Jason has been part of it. Many of you in this, Kara, where are you? You were here a few minutes ago. Zori Busar, you're there. You've been part of the Spine Talks programs. These are available on YouTube and again at spinehealth.org. Last May, we ran osteoporosis information for spine patients, bone health optimization. 799,000 people watched those YouTube programs. And that was not Kim Kardashian doing something fun and sexy on YouTube. These were Ben Elder, where are you? There you are, Ben. And Paul Anderson. Not to say that Ben and Paul are not sexy and fun to listen to, but 800,000 people watched those videos. That's remarkable. And it really does indicate to us the thirst for knowledge that we are seeing out there. Trusted resources are created with and by the leading experts. That's you, all of you. Expert resource creates a body of authoritative content. I'm going to talk about why authoritative content matters. We produce something called the Spine Health Journal. This is a patient journal written by experts. Today, we've been circulating the latest version of it, which is on pain, opioids, and their alternatives. The previous version, which we distributed last year here at LSRS, was on bone health. All of these are available on our website. We do limited print runs, but they're available electronically. We have a subscriber list of 20,000 people who get these journals electronically delivered to their inbox. And then what we do with these articles that have been written by all of you, Mike Steinmetz, you're here, you've written part of these articles as well. Many of you surgeons have been part of this. We slice and dice that content and we serve it up across our digital channels. Why does that matter? Well, expert collaboration within the spine industry is critical to this authoritative voice that we all are creating. And I emphasize the triangle here is sort of the triad of how we are creating this authoritative voice. Up at the top of the pyramid is a picture of our medical and scientific board logo. There are about 72 spine surgeons that are serving on our medical and scientific board, sending their patients so we can tell their patient stories, writing articles in our journal, producing spine talks programs with us, inviting me to the stage so I can talk about these things. Down in the lower left corner is a logo of the Coalition for Spine Health. A number of the leading spine societies have come together in a coalition that we lead in an advocacy effort to amplify the voice of spine societies. We are the designated patient advocacy organization for many societies, including LSRS. So if you go to the LSRS website at lsrs.org and you click on For Patients, you're going to come to a patient education portal that we have created. And I actually want to thank Katie Scheifelbein for your visionary leadership on what that could look like. And we've created that for a number of societies: LSRS, CSRS, NAS, ESMIS, ISAS, and more to come. I want to show now an example of how we think about the ecosystem that we are representing. In the center of the healthcare ecosystem are the patients. This massive universe is rotating around, all around patients, the patient voice. We represent that patient voice. And I just wanted to show this group sort of the tentacles from where our organization is reaching out and into, and bringing the voice of spine into those areas. I've talked about the societies. If we start at 12 o'clock and we go around, the societies that are in the coalition, our medical and scientific board. I'd like to point out our Spine Health Leadership Council. This is our corporate giving program. Industry is supporting us. It's critical that we have industry support. Industry partners with us on strategic thought partnership and gives funding, but it's the thought partnership that actually matters more to us in thinking about responsibly messaging to the public. There are pharmaceutical companies that we are partnering with, similarly on thought partnership, the payer community, hospital systems, government agencies. I chair the Patient Engagement Advisory Committee for the FDA and the Center for Devices and Radiologic Health. We spend a lot of time thinking about things like health literacy, informed consent, what patients need to know about clinical trial recruitment, and other topics like that. All of it's publicly available. Authoritative digital content drives search engine optimization. That means people can find you and you can drive the message. I want to show you what that looks like for our organization. In the last 12 months, we've had 32 million people come to our website. Just in the last 12 months. That averages about 775,000 page views per month. And we are seeing anywhere between 40 to 50,000 unique visitors to spinehealth.org. Sounds great. How do I know that's great? What do we benchmark against? Let's look at the context of what our numbers mean. We benchmark ourselves against leading patient advocacy organizations, American Heart Association being one of the oldest and most powerful. And you can see the numbers there. But then we compare ourselves to other more niche diseases like cystic fibrosis or lupus. These are entities that have been around for a very, very long time. Search engine optimization is partially dependent on how long you have existed. Spinehealth.org as a website has only been around for 5 years. Our numbers are getting very close to cystic fibrosis, lupus, MS Society, and others. That kind of growth happens through lots of collaborations, right? It's not a National Spine Health Foundation thing. It's an all of us thing. It's the triangle. It's providers, it's societies, it's industry coming together and having a voice because we're going to tell the good news and we've got to tell that good news and we have to start getting those messages out to patients. Um, why should we bother? Well, we all know, and here's the landmark evidence that shows informed patients have better outcomes. And if you look across the different outcome areas, there is a landmark study that's been done in each of these areas, whether it's treatment adherence, knowledge and quality of decision making, anxiety, emotional well being, mental health around informed consent is better. Patients know more. Chronic disease management is better. That helps manage overtreatment and overrun in costs. And finally, decreases litigation risk. So informed consent is really important. We all know that. Um, we happen to have a page on our site called the Spinal Help Center. Lots of resources. It's a great place to start. Another reason why we should bother is something you all have been working on for a long time. In fact, there was a whole session this morning on patient expectations. And what are the conclusions? What do we learn from all of those patient expectation studies? Conclusions are, and this is pulled from some of your studies, expectation management is a crucial and modifiable factor in spine care. By aligning expectations, appropriate expectations, through education and shared decision making, providers can enhance satisfaction and potentially improve clinical outcomes. If you wrote that conclusion, thank you very much for that. I pulled that right out of the literature. So, addressing spine issues is important. We have a number of public health crises that are driven in large part by spine conditions, or where spine has a major voice to be had and doesn't, well, now currently has a voice because of the partnerships we've created and our ability to reach out outside of the spine industry, to reach into the bone health world, into the world of osteoporosis. There's an epidemic of osteoporosis in our country. Yeah, you all know that. Your patients are showing up. A meta-analysis showed that 40% of all patients in every age group have who present for spine surgery have osteoporosis, men and women. That that epidemic is growing and it's getting worse. Osteoporotic fractures occur in the spine more commonly than anywhere else in the body. They are often silent, they are often undiagnosed, they are often treated, and we know if you have an osteoporotic fracture in your spine, you are 5 times more likely to have a catastrophic fracture somewhere else in your body. Who's talking about that? Well, who owns the bone? A lot of people own the bone, but where do we drive it in spine? Where do we talk about bone health optimization? We talk about it a lot. I want to thank Dr. Anderson for co-chairing our task force on bone health and Dr. Elder for being a very involved member of that task force. If you go to spinehealth.org and you click on the bone health initiatives, there's an entire CME portal there created just specifically for spine providers on managing osteoporosis and bone health optimization. We have an opioid crisis. The United States represents 4% of the planet's population, 80% of the planet's opioid use. That's a problem. The number one reason why opioids are prescribed in the United States of America is for low back pain. So what are we doing about that? Well, we've created a task force. You can take a look at our journal. It's being distributed today. We've created a military and veterans task force. Dr. David Pauly is chairing that task force, and lots happening there. Finally, we have a task force on motion preservation. We're looking at this particular technology, and the access to care on that for patients is problematic, so we are taking that on as an advocacy initiative. The power of patient advocacy, trust in the public, trust that there is a nonprofit not trying to put a knife in your back, not trying to sell you a surgery or an intervention, not trying to sell screws, plates, or implants. We are just here to give patients truthful, honest, not sugar-coated information, education created by you to help empower them on their spine health journeys. This doesn't replace the information that you create in your clinics and your institutions for your patients. This augments, amplifies, and supplements that information so patients know they're not alone. There are hundreds of thousands of patients all over the country being treated by these masterful techniques that you all are creating, that you all are pioneering. Being a 501c3 makes us a public charity. As a public charity, our Internal Revenue Service requires us to create opportunities for the public to contribute to this charity. Fundraising is a very important component of what we do. And actually, fundraising, believe it or not, drives SEO because our search engines recognize that when a 501c3 is fundraising and people are donating to it, it must be a more authoritative source. I found that to be a fascinating fact. Um, One of the things that you can do, if you're interested in being part of what we're doing, you can contribute. We've got a program called the Spinal Alliance. I'm not here to do fundraising, but I am here to tell you how you can get involved and why it matters. We are very, very grateful to everyone who is contributing to us thus far. I encourage you to visit National Spine Health Foundation. Send your patients there. Send your patients to me. I run the podcast. We tell real stories of healing and recovery, and it is just something else to be able to hear patients talking in their own voices. And so that's it. I'll conclude by saying we are the bridge. We are the bridge from pre-treatment conversations to hopefully getting those better and successful patient stories. We want to be your partner. We cannot do this alone. We should not do this alone. And it takes all of us, to get the message out and to get the word out and to maybe change the headlines. Bad headlines sell, those will always be there, but there needs to be a counter voice to that. So now we're here to do that. So I thank everybody for listening to me. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Thank you again, Jason, for your contribution and your support. Thank you very much.